episode, I want to talk about Rick and Morty Season 3, Episode 6, because there was a couple of important parts in the episode that I wanted to relay to you. Primarily, we're going to start out with this clip right here. I don't know how well you can hear that.
Our toxins have as much a right to their worldview as... Morty, how is it healthy to slap me?
Obviously, my version of health is a hell of a lot different from yours, you useless old turd!
Wait, that's it? How could that detox machine know the difference between healthy and sick for everything that goes through it? It can't. It must be by the individual's own definition of toxicity. That means...
So that line right there is probably the most important part, because...
Toxicity. That means...
Hold on.
For everything that goes through it. It can't. It must be by the individual's own definition of toxicity.
So each and every individual out there right now has their, like, you have your definition of what toxic is. Your definition of toxic may be different from my definition of toxic, and my definition of toxic may be different from your definition of toxic. Like, when we look at how, like, Rick's definition of toxic was, like, his willingness and his ability and attachment and, like, narcissism, and he says it right here, not that one. He says it in this one.
That bullet is laced with an encrypted nanobotic virus that will disintegrate your Morty in about 20 minutes. You think I give a shit? I know you give a shit, dummy, because I know I don't. Here's another thing I know. The decryption key that neutralizes the virus, you want it? Come and get it. Merge with me and you'll know how to save him. Come on, man. I've been trapped in your pussy brain for 70 years of delusions, but this is the all-time weakest bluff that I've ever... Jesus Christ!
So like that right there, you can see that it's just like, okay, this is what Rick considered toxic, was his attachment to Morty, whereas like Morty's attachments are completely different from what Rick's are, but like Rick removing his toxic makes Rick less of a Rick person. And when Rick has his toxins removed, he's no longer himself. He's less confident. He's less affirmative. Like he's less he's more agreeable and less disagreeable to other people. Whereas Morty, when he loses his toxins, like he takes out all the parts that he thought was like inferior. So like right here.
In your parasitic turd holster, I discovered the toxic equivalent of electricity, Morty. What do you think about that?
I think my voice is annoying.
It is, and it's your best quality.
So true.
So like Morty.
Everybody hates me, I can tell. You all hate me.
Shut up.
So like Morty removes his insecurities, as you can see. Like he has all these internal thoughts of what he thinks that other people think about him. Like you cannot get into the heads. Like if you just think about this for a second, like you can't get into the head and think like, no, you can never tell if anybody actually truly hates you. And this is why I found it so impactful and so insightful, where it's just like, Morty, he's like an insecure little boy. I've been an insecure little boy. Maybe there's still some insecurities that I'm working through. Everybody works through them. It's just more people don't want to necessarily work through them, and they might not necessarily be 100% aware of our insecurities as maybe somebody else is and or may not be. But that's why it's just like when they come out, they're a lot more calm and collected compared to like when they went in, when they're just like all angry and upset. And it's challenging because like once Morty realized that his insecurities was he felt like he needed to be liked and loved by everybody else. And I'm going to do a second part on this, but I'm going to show this clip first because there's a little bit of foreshadowing here. But it's like as soon as Morty leaves his, like, lets his conscious go, his toxic traits go, he becomes an incredibly successful individual. Like, he decides that he's like, you know what, I don't care what other people think. Like, I'm going to do me. I'm going to give my all to all these different things and not worry about the perceptions of other people that I have on me. And, like, look at the amount of, like, success that he ends up having. Like, maybe your definition of success isn't, like, a nice apartment like this that has, like, a window view of, like, the whole city, a nice big floor plan, like a penthouse apartment with, obviously, the hot redhead that he talks about in this scene right here, which if you go back, it's funny because like this is the thing that I've been able to realize from sales, and I was going to make another video, but we'll just include it in this one as well because it kind of adds into like, you may think that it's toxic, but it's also not toxic, but there's also these traits to help you increase like your sales or your charisma or whatever it may be. It's because you're using personal stories that you yourself have already had and people resonate with it that way. So like, listen to this.
2 lockers down. Fate has put her locker, 2 beautiful redhead, recently single, not looking to date, but ready to fall in love. And fate has put her locker 2 down from yours, Dwayne.
See, and like you think that that's just like a subtle cue, like he's just telling a story to be able to close a prospect. But then when you go forward throughout that scene, there she is again. And it's just like, oh, okay, so he was doing that here. But like he didn't have the confidence to be able to get this attractive redhead that was single, that was 2 lockers down from him, and be able to become a successful stockbroker and due to his lack of conscience, but it's like you can also have a conscience and be great at sales and improve your life as well too. But it's just like you have to understand that like everybody's traits and characteristics of what they think is toxic is going to be different. My traits, like I was saying earlier, are different than your traits and your ideas. Like I want to be able to have certain aspects, whereas like you want to be able to have certain aspects. But there are obviously common toxic traits that like do fall beneath everybody else. Like drinking, toxic. Like smoking, toxic. Inability to like go out and like do things that you yourself want to do, like that's toxic. But like you being able to like go out and like make massive amounts of money, or like increase your sales, or like tell stories, or find like the love of your life and have this cool apartment and have all these nice things, like that's not toxic. But like it depends on what your level of toxicity is, because as I said at the beginning, and we'll wrap it up with this point, is like Rick's removing his toxins made him a little bitch, whereas like Morty removing his toxins made him superior. So just keep that in mind, as like each person's toxins are possibly different. Sometimes you need them to make them who you are, whereas other times you need them not to make you who you are. You need to let them go. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Hope you enjoy this video. I know you guys have been liking the Rick and Morty stuff, so I want to make a couple more videos of it. And it seems like all of their episodes have all these deep hidden meanings, underlying tones to them. So if you have any other episodes or ideas that you are curious about for me to take a little perspective and look on them, just let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll chat with you in the next video. Thanks for watching and subscribing.